some of these are a form of social commentary and not in any way meant to put down the ideas and ideals of any political or gender identity. You are all fair game in the eyes of the wicked, and we see you.
The world is like a ride at an amusement park, and when you choose to go on it, you think it's real, because that's how powerful our minds are. And the ride goes up and down and round and round. It has thrills and chills, and it's very brightly colored, and it's very loud, and it's fun for a while. Some people have been on the ride for a long time, and they begin to question, is this real, or is this just a ride? And other people have remembered, and they come back to us, and they say, hey, don't worry, don't be afraid, ever, because this is just a ride.
Gentlemen, this is democracy madness. Have a look at, see that chap over there? He'll take your hand off my penis.
The Deputy Secretary, the Deputy Secretary, Deputy Secretary.
This guy is fucking stupid.
Stay cheesy. All right. Okay. All right. How's it going? How's it going, my beautiful starflies? Good to see you again. And we're back. We are actually back, and I mean that. We're actually back this time. We managed to fight Twitch, and we finally won. It turned out we had been removed because of some complaints about the things that we covered on the show. And then we were given a notice from a person that didn't like what we had to say, didn't like the fact that I was showing him proof. This was, again, the whole argument with this one specific guy. His name was Hawkeye, I think. And he had threatened me with a report on giving out false information. And the immediate response that I had for him was, debunk me. Debunk anything I have to say, please. You know, take this off my shoulders. I've said this to you guys 1,000,000 times. I don't want to know this shit. I really wish I didn't look, but I did. And, you know, it's not something I can just forget about. It's just not. And so being told that you're giving out propaganda and false information when you are the one trying to get people to stop looking at propaganda and false information. It's a very strange irony. Now, we fought with them over this false information part, and I said, what part of this is false? Now, remember, we got kicked off of Twitch a while back, and so we have not been on the show in like over a week, I think 2 weeks, probably lost every fucking viewer we had. The channel is no longer available. Even our videos on TikTok, that's why we're also going to do This Week in TikTok, and we're going to cover that later. Yeah, whatever. Because it seems like the American companies that, you know, we thought were American and on our side do not believe in free speech, do not believe in truth and honesty. They believe in narrative and coercion and authoritarianism. I don't play that shit. The one fucking man wolf pack, all right? So cheers. So, you know, they did what they could to take our show down. They won in taking down Useless Agent. They lost when it came down to proving us wrong, because this was going to put a ban on us from Twitch altogether. And so because I said this is not propaganda, I appealed and said, where can you debunk anything that we have said? Everything we have said is proven and is factual. And so they did not like that and basically stopped responding to us and canceled our account. So here we are, we're back, and we're doing it under Mexibam. So fuck you, we're back, bitches. All right, so let's get started. The very first video I want to bring up is the recent episode of Seth Meyers. He showed a comment that was supposedly proving that dementia is linked to intelligence. Now, throughout college, we had talked about these things, theorized on it, hypothesized on it. Never once did anyone say anything was proven. So what this man says is 100% pure propaganda, and I'll prove it to you. So let's go ahead and start that up. And here we go. For those of you on Twitch, I hope you guys missed this, waiting for me to figure out how to press play and all that stuff. All right, here we go.
It's a very well-known fact in the medical literature that says that someone's intelligence is tied to their risk of having dementia later on in life. And those who are more intelligent have less a risk later on in life. Well, Joe has proven in his younger scholar days, when he was near the bottom of his law school class, that he's not as intelligent maybe as President Trump has been. Okay,
now let's stop right there. So, he's saying that your cognitive decline has to do with your previous intelligence. This is a lie. This is wrong. It's absolutely not true. And we'll prove this with an APA article. Now, like in 1920, there was some sort of kind of test on this that was done in Scotland with 90 kids. So again, this comes a lot from these so-called psychological control tests, which most of them are like 10 people. You cannot base an entire country or planet based on 10 people. So I knew right away this sounded false, absolutely false. So to prove what he was saying, I was like, well, that's interesting. Let me go back to school for a second. Now, I'm going to go ahead and show you the APA website. Now, he was trying to quote from this, and I knew right away he was going to be what he was referring to. That Scottish test is not looked at seriously by the psychological community, and there's a reason for that. So here it is in here. Now, this is the article that is basically all you got to look into. So here's the article here. Rediscovered data, confirmed link. Now, this is a very misleading title because as you go through, there it is right here, Scotland. Like I said, oh, sorry, not the 20s. It was the 40s, but they used 1932 data. Now, let's keep going. Oh, right. 90,000 Scottish children. So, okay. Now, let me show you the exact quote here, if I can find it again. Basically, it's saying that at this point, we can only speculate. There it is. We hypothesize. There it is. We hypothesize about what the cognitive reserve might be. Now, the cognitive reserve is basically the idea that your intelligence creates a cognitive reserve. Think of it like a shell. So it's protecting your precious memories and shit. None of this is true. That's why I laugh at it. So this cognitive reserve that they're speaking of might be, but until these questions have been more thoroughly investigated, we are only speculating. So that is simple propaganda, misinformation, disinformation, forcibly misquoting. That's called propaganda 101, baby. Now, to go on and call that a psychological fact and a not even a psychological fact, you try to make it a medical fact. Now you're dealing with biology. Now you're dealing with the human body, no longer dealing with the conscious and the subconscious mind with its own minutiae and problems. Now you're trying to say, oh, this is a medical thing. That makes no fucking sense. So you're saying that it's both? That's not how it works. You either have a fucking, you can have situations where your body goes into certain feelings because your brain. But the idea that because you were intelligent, you can't get dementia is absolutely ridiculous. We've seen the best of us get dementia. It's simple genetics. And so dementia runs in Trump's family, and they're terrified of this. So they need to project as much as possible onto Biden. And again, Biden is not the best choice for us, but he's all we got right now. So that's it. That's the answer. And now you will notice that Trump goes from what used to be, oh, I didn't do it, I never met her, to, oh, what I did wasn't wrong. Wait, I thought you never did it in the first place. You're not allowed to just keep frog leaping onto other leap pads and expect us to just fucking forget the last one. I mean, MAGAs can do that. I that's a whole different level of cognitive dissonance that I just don't understand. And that I am pretty proud that I can't understand. So let's keep moving. As pathetic as that is, here comes another one of our geniuses on the Trump team. Now, another thing I wanted to bring up was that they try to talk about Biden being the bottom of the barrel in a fucking prestigious school. So you're saying the worst of the smartest is somehow equivalent to the worst of the worst. No, that's not how it works. And so I'm pretty sure Donald would never be able to get into any of the schools that Biden had gotten into unless daddy pays for it. So all this is daddy, 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 love me, love me, love me. And that's all his fucking campaign has ever been. And I love how even Jimmy Kimmel says, the campaign should be 2024, daddy, watch me dive. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's a desperate little child hoping to God that he can create some sort of love for himself that he could not receive as a child. Now, that is very sad, but it is also not our fault. And we shouldn't bear the responsibilities for your dad's fuck-ups. And then you went on to go and do the exact same fuck-up. So you kept the cycle going. Look at your two kids. They're fucking in the, 40s? And they still have no concept of reality. Do they even have children? I mean, shit. I don't even know. That's because I don't fucking look at people's families. I don't give a shit. I look at who you are. Now, we have Alina Habba, the worst lawyer in American history. No one has done some of the things that she has done. And I do not mean that in a good way.
Convenient.
It's 100% what it is. And I got to tell you, what I saw today was a lot like Miss James in New York. It's a similar fact pattern. It's the similar arrogance that you're seeing come out of it because they know they have these judges in their pockets and they have Soros backing or whoever it is, the Reid Hoffmans of.
Maybe they're smirking because they know they've already won, because you are a terrible lawyer and you have a terrible client that won't listen to you, even if you were a good lawyer. Okay. So again, this is I like how other people put this. That's like Harvey Weinstein running for president and saying, "Oh, sorry, I don't have the time for that." Oh, come on, man, leave me alone, dude. And so what's it called? That's literally like Harvey Weinstein busting out and saying, "Hey, I'm running for fucking president. Yeah, all that shit I did before. I'm not gonna have time to deal with the whole jail thing because I want to put some signs on lawns with my name on it." No, that's not how it works either. But this is the continuous pattern that we're going to see, because it is honestly just reflection, and it's just projection and Freudian slips with this guy. It's all we're going to get. So it's really interesting to hear the worst lawyer in the world basically dog whistling and kind of threatening these judges that she says Soros has in his pocket. And she's trying to say without saying, well, it's a matter of who has the most lawyers in their pocket, who has the most judges in their pocket. How about it should just be relied on simple justice, and what's right is right, what's wrong is wrong. But nah, it's way too binary for them. Gotta love how people have to be black and white. But when it comes down to the rich, everything is gray. Oh, nothing is that simple. But then when it comes down to us, no, it's simple. Break it down, man. Pull it up by your bootstraps, man. So we live in a fucking world where we have created, and I love that this girl said this on TikTok. You live in a country that was stolen property, stolen people, used free and stolen labor, and now you're reaping what you sowed, and you were the minority the whole time. Once you started bringing in America, you were becoming the minority. All right, so you rich fucking white people, I got no hate for anybody, but if you think that you can ignore any group of people for so long, they eventually revolt. And hopefully this happens within my lifetime. So like Jesse Ventura said, please don't start the revolution without me. I need to be there for this shit. So let's listen to Alina Habba continue to threaten and say, Soros has judges in the back pocket, but yet we're bitching because we don't have as many. And then they go on and say how many places he won't get a fair trial. Is it really that unfair? I mean, again, if you were to go out with somebody that got divorced a couple times, you'd be like, yeah, okay, 2 times? Okay, that happens. Relationships don't work out. But if the motherfucker told you got divorced 91 times, you'd run out of the fucking restaurant. This guy's a fucking murderer or some shit. I don't trust this dude. Yeah, let's just listen.
Of the Democratic Party backing this. This is not what the courts are supposed to be used for, Sean.
Yeah, they're not supposed to be used for actual justice because there's an election year. Duh. That means like all criminals get to go free as long as they're running for fucking president.
And it's disgusting. It's disgraceful. I really want to say to any of the judges that are out there listening that have anything left in terms of looking at the cases, looking at facts, looking at law, make our profession proud.
And this coming from the worst lawyer of all time. And make our profession proud. It's so bad, it's so desperate that it's transparent as fuck. It was more transparent than the what's it called, the goddamn Tucker Carlson Putin interview.
Because what I'm seeing is complete politicization of our legal system. It's not right. It's an election year. It's election interference.
So you're saying, think about this in a nutshell. She's saying that the justice system is being used as a political weapon. And you think that's wrong because you want to use the law as a political shield. And you don't see the same amount of politics. You see the bullshit before you even hear it. Nothing makes sense. And it's not supposed to. It's meant to be double talk. People double talk for a fucking reason. And that way you can't call them out on what they said because they said both things. No matter what, they can say, well, that's what I said. Shut the fuck up.
shouldn't be tying up a candidate. And now we got Stormy Daniels. I mean, who
Shouldn't be
her
tying
lawyer
up a
went to jail.
political
Michael
candidate.
Cohen just perjured himself,
That's not
admitted to it on the
politics?
stand. How much lower can we go? Read Pomerantz's book if you have any questions
How much lower can we go? Well, we can put your name on a firm.
about it. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, and it has to stop, Sean. Honestly, the only way we're going to stop it is in
ridiculous, and it
2024. I
has to
really
stop.
believe that.
I don't think the president can get a fair hearing in New York. I certainly don't believe. I think he got 5% of the vote in D.C. I don't think he can get a fair trial there at all. He certainly was never going to get one out of Fulton County, Georgia. Maybe Florida, he has a fair shot. But that.
Now, listen to the context of that. So, D.C., who doesn't even get to vote because the whole system is so fucked. New York, which is blue. Then you say Fulton, Georgia. Georgia's as red as you get, bro. And then you fucking say you're not going to get a fair hearing in Florida. You live in Florida. Okay. So if he goes over, where do you think he's going to get a fair trial? Russia? Is that it? Or do we have to move all of our cases for Trump into Russia so that way they get ignored? I mean, you have actually these people are fucking hilarious because Putin has actually said he'd rather Biden win because Biden is more predictable. So he doesn't want Trump to win because he thinks that Trump is so stupid that he might press the wrong button and shit and he won't get much done. You can't listen to anything. He's a fucking murderer, so obviously he's going to say whatever he has to. Whatever comes out of Putin's mouth is already contextualized, pre-planned, and he already knew what he was going to say. And then he calls fucking Tucker Carlson a chode and then a guy that couldn't ask real questions.
That case never should have happened, especially in light of what we learned from the Robert Hur report about Joe Biden and his classified document scandal, especially what we know about Hillary Clinton. No reason.
Yeah, there we go. Let's go into fucking 20 years ago. Let's bitch about shit that doesn't affect anybody right now, doesn't affect anybody anymore. And let's just keep bringing up irrelevancy. And that's because you have an RNC that doesn't stand for anything. Now, when you stand for nothing, what can you really talk about? I mean, you can't talk about what you stand for. So all you can really talk about is what you stand against. So if you don't stand for anything, that means you can bitch literally about everything. And you're just going to come off as what? How do you come off as the champion victim? There's no such thing. You know, the champ is never the underdog. And, I mean, never say never, but I mean, Jesus Christ. So what's funny is that we just saw Sean Hannity. Yesterday we watched Tucker Carlson. So that leads into a segue. Then I kill the whole fucking room. All right. Hopefully you guys could hear that. Otherwise, it just sounds like I'm crazy. But whatever. All right, so the next video we're going to show you is basically what does Tucker think about guys like Ben Shapiro? And this is hilarious. The idea that you would despise Ben Shapiro. And I mean, I despise Ben Shapiro because I hate all neocon fuckers. And it's just really funny how you can't. If you're on that side, you really can't differentiate. Now, when you're on the side of the public, that's different because, you know.
I'll share it with you and then we'll react.
You know, I've got 4 draft age children.
So
if you're playing recklessly, fast and loose with their lives, then I have a right to despise you, and I do. So if you're Nikki Haley, who's running for president, or Ben Shapiro, or half the people I see on television casually mentioning the possibility of nuclear war or sending Americans to fight in the Middle East,
this is the same guy that pushes for replacement theory. This is the guy that stands for white nationalists. And let's remember perfectly well when they say, sorry, Kyle, I got you beat with your stupid vape. So it's just ridiculous. It's hard to even put this shit into words. So he's saying he's got draft age kids. Yeah, right. Shut the fuck up. Like, well, what draft is gonna come? And then let's be perfectly honest here. When they say Americans, we know what color Americans you're speaking about. Because let's say we had an all-black army and then an all-Mexican army. And America had its own races of armies. You wouldn't hear him say Americans going to the Middle East. You would have heard whatever team the white ones are on. And you're going to send my whiteys over to the Browns? Get the fuck out of here. Africa is our home country. We're all from Africa ancestrally. So, just throwing it out there.
Or in any way involving us in a war that has nothing to do with prosperity and peace at home, nothing in other words to do with us, Americans, then I have a right to call you out and be really offended because it's my family. They live here. It's not a joke to me. There's nothing abstract about it.
There's nothing abstract about it. You're talking about a hypothetical. It's about as abstract as, and then so you're saying, but you're also saying it like as if, oh, it only matters because now I have kids. Had nothing to do with me being of draft age or somebody else's kids. No, now you have a personal investment. And then you go to interview a warlord? What the fuck? And then the warlord calls you a fucking coward and expected you to have actual questions for him. Like anyone was going to ask Putin a real question. And again, we got to show that clip again of that interview. When Putin tells Tucker about his knowledge of Tucker's aspirations to join the CIA, the look on Tucker's face is fucking beautiful because it just freezes in time, and he has nothing but fear in his fucking eyes because he's literally been called out and say, oh, I know a little bit about you before you come here. You know this is my country, right? I know everything. So right away he says, this was purported by the CIA, an organization you wanted to join, as I hear. Thank God they didn't let you in. But let's remember, it's a very serious organization. All of that right there is a dead-on bitch slap insult. And he wanted Tucker to respond the whole time. Now, would Putin have killed him? I don't know. I don't really care. But we've seen what happens to real journalists. And real journalists end up in a box. Now, when Tucker goes over to Putin and talks to him, he showed that box. CNN had to check out yesterday's episode to see all that stuff. And so she fact-checked everything he had to say, saying, no, real journalists have already done this. Real journalists are behind a glass box right now. And it seriously looks like a giant china cabinet being stuck behind a china cabinet. It's terrifying. So what does Tucker do? He makes a stupid-ass little question, and you can tell this had nothing to do with American lives or the innocence of American freedom or any of that bullshit. He did it for fucking clickbait. He asked them, would it be cool if I took them home? Because if I take them home, then I'm a hero? And you look at fucking Putin, who just laughs at the question, going, you little scumbag. You would do that, wouldn't you? Now, had he said, is there any way we can trade and you take me and let that man go home? That would have shown me some balls. That would have shown me that, at least on camera, you're going to pretend to give a shit. That would have fucking been some actual quality fucking talking right there. because we knew we weren't getting an interview. So had you have asked that simple question, I think Putin would have even had more respect for you. And not that Putin's respect is worth anything because he's a goddamn murderer, and a psychopath, but I don't know. At least you'd walk away with something. I mean, he literally walked in and came out worse because now you're even less respected, which I didn't know was possible, but you're even disrespected by the very man you interviewed and kissed ass for, Vladimir Putin. Fucking hilarious. Vlad the Impaler indeed. So now he's just bitching about neocons. And so I'm going to let him go ahead and restart that little rant because it's interesting to hear him pretend that he gives a shit because his children are of draft age. Because, yeah, the draft's been around for so long. What, Vietnam? That was it? You know, people like my father had to worry about that shit. We had to worry about that shit. You know, in 2001... we had a very bad day in September. And then that caused us to go to a very specific place that had nothing to do with anything. And then we had to go over there and wipe out children. And then my friends came back thinking, they left thinking they were going to put out some sort of democracy and get some sort of change. The only change that came out of them was them. And they came back suicidal. They came back depressed. Not even depressed, but like dead on 1,000-yard stare depressed. Couldn't look straight. Won't look you in the eye kind of depressed. It was the scariest goddamn thing I'd ever seen. I'd never been afraid of my own friend. You should never be afraid of your friend. You love your friend. I was terrified of him and I'm a fucking psycho, but I knew he had seen some shit that he can't let go of. And it's the shit like that people like Tucker, DeSantis, Trump, Rumsfeld, neocons, MAGA morons, none of you guys will understand unless you've been there and witnessed what had to happen. And none of this had to happen. But what they had to do was despicable. And literally, we talk about all these treasonous hangings for people like Mike Pence and Biden. And it's like, shut the fuck up. If any people are supposed to be hung for treason, it should have been, I don't know, the spokesperson that told us that the air was safe to breathe, causing hundreds of thousands of people to get cancer. We're now on a third wave of cancer effects from that fucking day. Rumsfeld, who continuously acted like a passerby instead of an actual Secretary of Defense, a man that specifically ran away from his duties to go help out a dude that was already being helped by like 12 other fucking professionals. Why would the Secretary of Defense go running off when he should be over in the fucking room leading? Instead, we see him helping someone with a stretcher. And then during that time, those crucial minutes where they needed him to answer some fucking serious questions from the military, he's out there in the yard pretending to do shit. These are the men that should be fucking hung, because these are the men that killed your families. People like Paul Wolfowitz, people like fucking Lloyd Jowers. These are the sons of bitches that you don't even know their fucking names, but they're the reason why your family is the way it is. They're the reasons why this country is the way it is. And it was all in our face. We just had to see it.
I've got 4 draft age children. So if you're playing recklessly fast and loose with their lives, then I have a right to despise you. And I do. So if you're Nikki Haley, who's running for president, or Ben Shapiro, or half the people I see on television casually mentioning the possibility of nuclear war or sending Americans to fight in the Middle East, or
This guy who just went and interviewed a man that wants to put a nuclear weapon in space. Putin wants to put a nuclear weapon in space. Now, we're supposed to have a rule again. I'm done with Tucker. Tucker's got to go. Tucker must die. It was a movie. I'm not saying anything. It's called John Tucker Must Die. Don't fucking say I threatened anybody. It had that one pretty boy from Passions. Passions was a soap opera back in 2000. Never mind. Point is, you know, a long time ago, before Fox News became whatever it is today. I mean, it was always meant to be entertainment, not real news, but they would land on a few nuggets of truth, real truth. During the earlier years of 9/11, post 9/11, from 2001 to like 2005, there was a lot of shit that they were covering that was actually important, and some of the things they were saying that was actually important. And Tucker over there was the same person that was telling guys like Richard Clark that it is sinful and blasphemous to question Bush. That is the exact opposite of a patriot. That is someone who loves being under the thumb. I don't know about you, but I was raised American. I don't fucking deal with no people on my fucking head. So these neocons that he pretends to despise, like Ben Shapiro, they're all a part of the same system. So they went on from, hey, Bush is wrong, they're sending us to war we shouldn't be going into. Oh, you were all hoorah for that in the beginning. Then when we find out nothing's getting done, then Fox News was like onto something. They were actually covering how pointless the war was. And then another thing happened, and then Obama became president. And then suddenly it was no longer about innocence, truth, and honesty. It was now about, fucking Obama's birth certificate and all the distraction bullshit that, you expect from Fox News. So it was really surprising. For a little while, they were covering the war correctly, and they were the only ones doing it. I was surprised. This was a very short time in history where people like Alex Jones were even right on some things. And you had guys like Richard Dawson, Ryan Dawson. I think it's Richard Dawson. Anyway, Dawson is a great documentary maker. He's a great activist, and I have nothing but respect for the guy. I do not 100% agree with him, though, and we're not supposed to, no one's supposed to be 100% with each other. So I just need to bring that out to show you guys that neocon shit, because this is what they do. This is how they act. This is what they run away from. They pretend that there's this big problem, but they'll never actually attend to it. Just like with the war in Iraq, as we Americans were losing 22 kids a day. I'm not saying by war. This is 22 kids a day that came home and couldn't take it. These people were not cowards. They were not heroes either, and they knew that. And they hated themselves for that. And they kept asking in notes and letters to their families, how the fuck are we heroes? What we're doing is terrible. And I think that was some of the reason why we were canceled off of Twitch in the first place. I don't think it was about disinformation. I don't think it was about misinformation. I think it was about real information that you didn't want to see. Then why couldn't you just scroll on? Move. Go somewhere else. Ignore me. There's plenty of other channels. You can go watch some dude play Minecraft. I don't know why, but knock your fucking self out. I don't give a shit. But it's scary that, you know, that this is how it is now. And that really weird period in time when I had to rely on Alex Jones and InfoWars and Dawson at the same time. See, Dawson didn't have any respect for Jones, and neither did Bill Cooper. Bill Cooper died because of what he did. Bill Cooper was murdered because of what he showed us, and was showing us that CNN was already having some interview with Osama bin Laden in June. So I'm sorry that I keep going back into that topic, but it's literally the catalyst that brought us here. And to ignore it is ridiculous, because that's what you're based on. You know, the post wars that came out, they will always say post 9/11. They will always say, oh, it's been the worst battle post 9/11. Or they'll say pre 9/11. So we keep using this specific date as a reference, but we can't talk about it. This is why I have a real problem with letting it go and moving on to any other topics, because it comes back. These motherfuckers always come back. And that's my fucking point. So let's look at the now recent douche, scaredy cat, little bitch, Speaker of the House, Mike Dick Johnson. And this little Johnson is, I like calling him Elf on the Shelf. He's a tiny little man. Look at him. I mean, come on. If he wasn't so goddamn evil, what is with these Republicans? If you were not so goddamn evil, you'd be adorable, actually. You and your Lindsey Grahams, you know, them chubby little fucking baby face cheeks, always crying about me, Ma. You clean your own damn boils, me, Ma. He's a fucking weirdo, man.
Going to take a vacation now. They're done. They're running away from the House of Representatives after killing a bipartisan border deal that was led in the Senate by Oklahoma's Republican Senator James Lankford, after Donald Trump also gave the MAGA Republicans not just the directive to kill the border deal, but also to not fund Ukraine. And MAGA Republicans are refusing to look out for our national security interests and not move forward the Ukraine funding bill.
Again, this can be questioned by the fact that, you know, one person asked me, why do they need $60 billion when they don't have a Navy and they don't have that much of a Navy and ships and shit like that and planes? And right away I was like, well, there's more to war than just planes and ships. Why are we giving money to Israel, one of the richest nations, and they always seem to be broke whenever they want our money? And so you're okay with funding this Israeli war machine, but for those that are being kicked out of their own houses because of the wrong race, so we're okay with that. Now, no one recorded or no one covered this. Nobody talked about this on mainstream media when people were being thrown out of their homes because they're the wrong race. So imagine in America, imagine they said for every Catholic, now I'm supposed to be Catholic, I'm Italian, so every Catholic is the true Ubermensch, and because of that, you are allowed to take property. And I walk up into your fucking house and I sit down and just light up my fucking bong. And you know what? That does sound nice. And I just sit in your fucking lazy boy. Bong in hand, and just start lighting up, inviting some people over, really douchey motherfuckers too. You know, those fucking like, you know, flat earthers and shit. And so, yeah, we just come in, we blast fucking Mambo number 5, and you can't do a goddamn thing. Why? Because I'm Catholic, bitch. Could you fucking imagine that? That's what was happening to them. This is exactly what was happening for most Palestinians in Israel. They were kicked out of their homes. And then, if they weren't kicked out of their homes were demolished while they were in them. So they had to run out of the house, holding their kids, watching their homes be destroyed, because they're going to make way for the next fucking asshole that saw your place and realized, oh, hey, a Palestinian lives here. That means it's mine. So we're okay with funding that. That's cool. Here's another few billion. We're okay with sending our own fucking American entertainers, I guess, over to hang out with Vladimir Putin. You don't think that money could have went anywhere else to do anything else? Fuck, I would have rather given it to Ukraine. and that's a fact.
In the House of Representatives, the MAGA Republicans said, we're going home. We're done. We're good. Here, Jake Sherman reports that the House is done for the week by 2:30 p.m. tomorrow, and they will be gone until February 28th. So just to be clear, that they're done working on February 15th, and they shut down until February 28th, and then there could actually be a government shutdown shortly thereafter. This is
the new reality that we live in, and look at the sadness on poor Ben. Ben, I feel bad for. That's Ben Mycelis right here, and I love his show, but I feel so bad for the poor bastard. You know, I really want to work for him so I can help cover a lot of the stuff he's doing. Look at those bags. Look at those bags underneath his eyes. Seriously, those are full-on luggage cases. The man needs some goddamn sleep. So, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'll do it. Just deep fake it. And, you know, just give me your fucking face. Yeah. And that's it. Let's just do that. All right. So, yeah, this is just ridiculous. You have a Republican bill led by a Republican from Oklahoma, nonetheless. But because it was Democrat sponsored, and they had they were like, all right, this is even extreme for us, but we're gonna give it to you. Shut the fuck up and let's see if you get anything done. They didn't. So if you and then remember, these fucking fools go over to the border and they couldn't find any immigrants, so they just started fighting each other. True story. Just happened a few days ago. Just 2 trucks filled with Hillbilly Jim and, you know, fucking Tugboat John and Billy Bong Thornton are over there just decking each other because they couldn't find any Mexicans to try shouting at. I mean, this is the fucking world we live in. And then when we try to give you billions of dollars, you have the gall to fucking say that it won't help, knowing that even a Republican president wouldn't have been able to give you something that Biden was trying to give you. What was it, $14 billion? And I love that when Mike Johnson had said, you know, he's going to keep saying this shit, you know, oh, it's all about border security. Well, why did you deny them $14 billion? Now, when he said, no, wouldn't help at all, I had responded saying, can you just say that really loud? You know, like just shout it so that way anyone that's actually on the border patrol can hear you say that. So, like, no, keep your 14 billion. It's not going to help us. And just see those motherfuckers turn around saying, what did you just decide for us? You son of a bitch. And this is the constant bullshit that we have. And then, so as he's being interviewed or being asked questions, he's going to run away with the same fucking crybaby excuse that he's already proven doesn't actually exist. And talking about border security this, border security that. And it's all fucking bullshit. Now, the next thing is, do we really have to? How about no? No, we don't. I'm not going to put you guys through this. Thanks to people like Mike Johnson, she still has a job. Not only does she still have a job, but they constantly put her in places she has no clue what she's doing. And I mean, if you want any proof, here it is.
Funding for Ukraine. What do you say to that?
I think he tried to compare us to Hitler also. And if that's the kind of language he wants to use, I really have nothing to say to him.
Well, he likened you to an appeaser to Hitler in not voting through funding for Ukraine. Are you an appeaser for Putin?
I think that I really don't care what David Cameron has to say. I think that's rude name calling, and I don't appreciate that type of language. And David Cameron needs to worry about his own country, and frankly, he can kiss my ass.
But do you think Putin's the good guy in all this?
Don't it? Oh. That is your answer right there. You're an appeaser to a dictator. You're an appeaser. And you consider that name calling. You couldn't say it was an ad hominem or anything. No. You're going to say that's a fucking that's name calling? It's literally the action you're taking, which is none. That is the same action that appeasers for Hitler did. Like, fucking Himmler, Goebbels, it's really funny that when he asked, do you think that Putin is the good guy in all this or something, she slams the door. Back in the fucking day, even in the 80s, there would have been a stop, pause, and be like, whoa. Are you calling me a fucking commie? And then, a fight would have broken out right there. That's how much Republicans hated commies. And now they want to be them. It's like if you can't beat them, join them kind of thing. And it's because what is Russia full of that you like so much? It's not like there's a bunch of white people. Oh. It is such bullshit, man. Like, we don't see through this shit. All right, so being Black History Month, this is our next segue. All right, shut up. So anyway, being Black History Month, something that I still consider a fucking embarrassment, because Black history is American history, and Black people have done way more. It's fucking ridiculous. So I agree with Morgan Freeman, to break that down into a month a year, and the shortest month of the year nonetheless, is not only insulting, but unnecessary. And if you're going to ignore race, well then, why can't we just all be people? Well, the only people that really say that on Black History Month are always the most racist motherfuckers you're ever going to meet in your life. That's the sad thing, is you don't even want to say it, because the only people that agree with you are motherfuckers like Charlie Kirk. So because of that, I want to show this one specific scene from a documentary that's by Cynthia McKinney, and I'm going to show this throughout the month, maybe not every day, but it needs to be seen. It needs to be shown. It needs to be learned that in 1999, we learned the actual truth.
Their media, especially when it comes to false flags and political obstacles.
Good evening.
Of Martin
Dr. Martin
Luther
Luther
King.
King, the apostle of nonviolence in the civil rights movement, has been shot to death in Memphis, Tennessee. Police have issued an all-points bulletin for a well-dressed young white man seen.
Now, remember, we had just shown propaganda and proved it wrong. So we even disproved that this common psychological fact or medical fact was bullshit, and it's coming from your news networks. Well, here's Tom Brokaw doing the same shit.
Running from the scene. Officers also reportedly chased and fired on a radio-equipped car containing 2 white men. Dr. King was standing on the balcony of his second-floor hotel room tonight when, according to a companion, a shot was fired from across the street. In the friend's words, the bullet exploded in his face. Police, who have been keeping a close watch over the Nobel Peace Prize winner because of Memphis' turbulent racial situation, were on the scene almost immediately. They rushed the 39-year-old Negro leader to a hospital where he died of a bullet wound in the neck.
In 1999, the widow of Dr. King wants to try the named conspirator Lloyd Jowers as a conspirator in the assassination of Dr. King. William Pepper is the King family attorney. And a jury found that the United States government, along with Lloyd Jowers, conspired to murder Dr. King. It's what we already knew, but that trial was not covered by the press. There was only one journalist in the room. And if you can imagine, only one journalist in the room for something so important as the trial to establish who conspired to kill Dr. King. But that also tells us the state of our media. It was at that trial that Dr. King was specifically targeted by name in the counterintelligence program. He was harassed, he was vilified, he was persecuted in every way imaginable. And all he wanted was the right to vote for black people. That's all. I mean, you know, now they figured out other ways to subvert the vote, but they should have known that they were going to be able to do that. So let them vote and stop the turmoil that the country was going through. But no, and the church committee reports reveal that this behavior, the counterintelligence program behavior, was carried out for political purposes for certain individuals who had political objectives. What that means is that individuals who were insiders had access to the tentacles of government and could manipulate those tentacles for their own benefit. This is a very important finding of the church committee reports.
Okay, now that's where I'm going to pull it. I'm going to show that pretty much throughout the month. Again, it's paramount that people know this. So I did a video on TikTok recently, leading to our segue. And so anyway, I was watching a TikTok video that was showing a Black History class being taken. And the information that those kids were learning were some of the most fundamental, profound, and just fucking jarring information that should be available to everyone. All on basically the system of slavery. And the idea of how to enslave came from the idea of lying to people about their history. Now, where do we get our history now is from television, the media, and school. So, of course, these are those tentacles that are going to be manipulated and puppeteered and marionetted, if that's a word, into whatever positioning the narrative requires. And it is within this concept that we have to understand how to avoid disinformation, propaganda, and the shit that you're seeing on Google. So if you Google the question, again, this was on TikTok, I showed this. If you can just ask Google, who shot Martin Luther King? And it'll give you the wrong answer. Now, what's sick is at the motel where he stayed at, the Lorraine Hotel, they still show the rifle with certificates of authenticity, and almost, I don't know if it is, but it's basically making it its own like landmark for a lie that wasn't proven until 1999, and there was only one fucking reporter there to see it. This is why your information is extremely important when it comes to its resources. Your information is only as good as its resource, and we need better resources. So we need more people on TV or online, anywhere you can get truth. Now, Kanye will tell you that Roland Martin is bought, and maybe he is, but whatever little nuggets of fucking truth I can get, I'm taking. And I don't catch him in a lot of lies, whereas even Rachel Maddow, who I used to really love, can be wrong. And then Bill Maher, I used to like him. Definitely an idiot, You have to double check everything now. But when you do, trust me, you're going to be a lot happier that you did. So that leads us to this week in TikTok. Let's go ahead, and that means I'm just going to show some stupid ass video. What in the fuck am I watching? Seriously, what the fuck is this? A bunch of Asian dudes? I thought they were gonna be playing dice or some shit. What the fuck? That ain't dice. Are you guys playing with like? I thought they were gonna be like playing dice with like Dungeons and Dragons. The die that it comes, like the 12-sided die and shit. Okay, that's fucking weird. Next. Oh shit! All right, that one was good. All right, leave it to a couple of young, clever guys. All right, next.
Sworn in place, Buford, you listening? Now get this. That's when the subcommittee had to reallocate the funds, and then replace Buford. Buford, you listening? Now get this. That's when the subcommittee had to reallocate the funds, and then
this is like me talking to anybody. This is like, oh man, Buford is everyone I've ever talked to on the bus. Next. That's copyright. Come on, man. Next. What is with the Titanic music? Why is that becoming cool again? Wait a minute. Shit, is this real? Oh god. That Titanic music just makes it all the worthwhile. Like that Titanic music really brought some ambiance to the scene of stupidity. All right, next.
That's right, you got here. Mikey, pizza's here. Yeah. Yeah, what, bud? Yeah. Hey, you got pizza. No anchovies, right? Yeah, where you going? Hey,
did the dude run?
Where you going? Oh, we didn't pay you yet.
Okay, and I think this is definitely the best one. This is probably the best one. Do that shit. I wish we could see the dude. They needed another guy to be on the other side.
Hey, you got pizza. No anchovies, right? Yeah, where you going?
He's running. Oh shit. Okay, now that is what I call quality humor right there. That is great. All right, we're gonna end it on that one. Okay, from now on we're gonna end the show like that because that is beautiful. And I need to end it on a nice note so I can laugh on my way out. I always end up sad on our shows. Okay. So what did we learn today? Stop trusting your goddamn Google. Do some fucking research. And don't run from the ninja fucking turtles, man. If anything, you run towards the motherfuckers. You fucking morons. Who do you think's gonna protect your ass? At least when they were in the fucking sewer grates, man, they did a better shot. You know, that's why they stayed in the sewers when they bought their pizzas. You know, the real ones, you know. And that's it. All right. Love you guys. Stay safe. Stay yourselves. I'll see you on the other side. Most of all, stay cheesy, my friends. And don't run from the turtles.
Please note these are a form of social commentary and not in any way meant to put down the ideas and ideals of any political or gender identity. You are all fair game in the eyes of the wicked, and we see you.
It just feels like
The world is like a ride at an amusement park, and when you choose to go on it, you think it's real, because that's how powerful our minds are. And the ride goes up and down and round and round. It has thrills and chills, and it's very brightly colored, and it's very loud. And it's fun for a while. Some people have been on the ride for a long time, and they begin to question, is this real, or is this just a ride? And other people have remembered, and they come back to us, and they say, hey, don't worry, don't be afraid, ever, because this is just a ride.
Gentlemen, This is democracy madness. Have a look at, see that chap over there? He'll take your hand off my penis.
The Deputy Secretary,